Hello everyone. Hi, my name is Ade. Thank you for joining me today. So today I will be discussing Argos fragrances. So I first learned of Argos fragrances when I watched a video called toe curling fragrances. So a group of ladies got together and they talked about, their best perfumes that they like and things like that. Well, really fragrances that'll make your toes curl, okay? And so specifically there's a lady named Jessica Trim. She's here on YouTube and Instagram, and she hyped up this fragrance called Triumph of Bacchus. And so the way that she talked about it and the way that she described it, I was like, I think I might want to, check out that house. And so what I did was I went ahead and I ordered a discovery set just to test them out. And from that, I was so amazed that I went and I bought like 4 bottles at one time. So, to me, I feel like that is an indicator that this is a really good house, because I've never, besides Xerjoff, when I smelled their line, I think I bought 5 at one time. I've never done that before, like in my life. And so this is another fragrance house that I was truly amazed by, and I got 4 bottles at one time. So today I would like to actually discuss my top 5, because I believe there was like 8 to 10 in the discovery set, but I'm going to talk about the top 5. And with that being said, Argos fragrances, their fragrances are kind of like based off of Greek mythology. And so they took a lot of time and matched the fragrance up with, well, if you listen to the stories and you know the stories, and I'm going to go into the stories just briefly, but the way that they intertwine the stories with the fragrance is like incredible. So the first story that I would like to talk about is the story of Danae. And so here is my Danae bottle right here. And I'll also pop a picture of the artwork up right here. So Danae was the daughter of the king of Argos, okay? And so an oracle told him, and an oracle was kind of like a prophet or a psychic kind of, so he went to the oracle, and the oracle told him that one day he would have a grandson, and his grandson will kill him. And so the father only had the one daughter, Danae. And so like a father, he became overprotective, and he locked Danae up in a bronze tower. And somehow Zeus, I know you guys heard of Zeus. So Zeus visited Danae in some type of way at that bronze tower. And if you look at the picture, you're going to see like golden rain flowing between Danae's legs, showering her, like the gold is going like through her legs. And in their time, that was considered a golden shower. Okay, so use your imagination, Carisha, please. Okay, so just look at the picture. Like Danae has this slit between her skirt. I mean, she has this thick, sexy thigh in the picture, and I'm just imagining that she was just a beautiful, voluptuous, like attractive woman, And so long story short is that Danae got pregnant with a baby boy. She had the baby, and her father shipped her off to sea. And anyway, she landed in a place called Andromeda, and her son grew up. Her son's name was Perseus. He grew up, and one day, some way, somehow, he ended up returning, and he actually did kill his grandfather. Okay. And so if I could use one word to describe this fragrance, I would say that it is sexy, like Danae. And so I'm gonna spray this. Yeah, so, oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's really sexy. So it opens up like with a burst of, I smell like a freshness coming from a bergamot. I smell like a spark of pink pepper and like woody notes. And then in the dry down, I get like a creaminess and a sweetness. And I was like wondering what was that sweetness coming from. So I thought it maybe had vanilla in there, dates, I don't know. But it's actually something called a cistus. And I've never heard of that note before, but it is so beautiful. And I feel like that is what makes sex in a bottle. That is what makes this fragrance sexy to me, like the sweetness of that note called the cistus. And anyway, so this fragrance is so sexy. A man or a woman can wear it. So I feel like it's straight up unisex, straight down the middle. And I'm going to tell you, if a guy wears this fragrance on the first date, I think she might let you hit on the first night. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just that you know, it's that good that I feel like it's going to just attract the opposite sex, basically, is what I'm saying. And so that's the story of Danae. And yeah, so at the end, I will actually rank the fragrances, how I see them, how I will rank them for a woman to wear, and how I would rank them for a male to wear. So that's the story of Danae. So the next one that I have is Pallas Athene, or Pallas Athene. And so the story behind this is Athena was the daughter of Zeus, and Pallas was her best friend. And so when they grew up, they used to fight with swords and shields. So they used to practice all the time fighting. The girls did. They were best friends. So one day when they got older and they were of age, they had them do like a combat battle or like a friendly battle. And so the goal of the battle was to disarm your opponent. And so just imagine that you're at a boxing game, you know, it's like in a circular arena, or kind of like a circular coliseum like that, right? So that's the scenery. And then, you know, you have these two ladies, you know, fighting. So just imagine you had all the celebrities or all the well-known gods, Greek gods, they were all there to watch the fight, you know? And so Athena, remember I said that her father is Zeus. So Pallas was actually winning the fight. And then Zeus, he didn't like that his daughter was losing. So he kind of like jumped in the fight. Now, why would a grown man jump in a fight between two women, you know? And so he didn't physically jump in. He used some type of something to distract, like a metal or something like that. He used to distract Pallas. And so the girls, their normal fight, you know, what she thought she was going to do, she thought her friend was going to duck, but she didn't. And so Athena ended up piercing Pallas in the chest, and therefore she ended up killing her best friend. Okay. So this Zeus, he was a character. And so with that being said, she was so sad that she killed her best friend, and she, in order to honor her friend's name, she took her first name. And she also created a statue, and that statue or that tower was called the Palladium. So growing up, like big buildings where people would have parties and stuff was called the Palladium. I never knew where that name Palladium came from. So the Palladium came from this specific story. And also there was a movie theater as well. I knew that was called the Palladium. But anyway, so that's where the name palladium came from. And so she renamed herself to Pallas Athene. And so, yeah, so when I smell this fragrance, let's talk about the fragrance, not only the story, but I just want to show you guys how they tie together. Yeah, this one right here, it is my absolute favorite. I believe that this is definitely more feminine leaning fragrance. This is my favorite one, number one for me. And so when I smell the fragrance, the one word that I would say that would describe this fragrance is captivating. You know, just like those guys were like, you're watching, you know, your boxing match or your football game or whatever the sport is, like those girls were, you know, fighting it out. It is very captivating. And so it also opens up with red berries. Actually, I can't remember all the notes, but red berries is what I smell, and the pink pepper. And then in the middle, I'm getting like some floral notes, and it's slightly powdery. And then I think it's powderiness coming from like the iris. And then I get like a pinch of vanilla down there in the base. I believe vanilla is one of the notes. And so, yeah, so this is absolutely my favorite, like my number one out of the whole house. So yeah, so that is Pallas Athene. My only mistake is that with these bottles I got the 30 mls, and honestly for the price I wish I would have gotten the 100 mls, because this one is totally up my alley. Like, I'm a fruity floral girl, and out of all these fragrances, I feel like this one suits me and my personality the most. Pallas Athene for the girls. So now, the next fragrance I don't have the full bottle of, but when I smell these fragrances, I love them so much. I try not to harass my husband with all my perfume stuff, but I let him smell this too, and he was wild as well. And so the next fragrance that I want to talk about is Adonis Awakens. And so this one was my husband's favorite one because he loves rose in fragrances. And so the story behind Adonis Awakens, if I could get this right, is that he was, if I'm getting this correctly, because I don't know, you know, don't quote me on any of these stories, but so Adonis was a mortal, like a human, they would call a mortal. And so he was like so beautiful, so desirable, and he was very attractive. So he was a young hunter, and in that time, you know, I don't know if it was desired to be a hunter, but he was fine, okay? And everybody thought that he was beautiful. And so one day while he was hunting, Aphrodite, who is the goddess of love, she fell in love with Adonis. And so Aphrodite has a son called Eros, and I think that we all know who Cupid is. You know, Cupid with the little bow and arrow, and if he strikes you with love, you know, you fall in love. And so that was her son, and her son accidentally struck her with that arrow as she was looking, you know, at Adonis. So she fell in love with Adonis. Those two ended up being together. So now one day Adonis was out hunting, right? And so the animal that he hunted, I think it was a boar, actually, you know, boar or a pig, it actually pierced him, and he ended up dying. And he died in Aphrodite's arms. And where he died, she buried him there. And the tomb where he died grew beautiful red roses. And so that is so significant to the fragrance because it's a rose fragrance, okay? And so it opens up. This one, to me, I feel like I probably wouldn't wear it because I like more girly stuff, but my husband absolutely loves this one. I'll just spray a little bit right here. Yeah. Yeah, it's still nice though. It's really good. So it opens up with like a burst of bergamot and also pink pepper I can smell. I think they really like bergamot and pink pepper in this house. In the opening, that's what I smell. And in the middle, I'm getting like a beautiful rose. And then in the base, I'm getting some woods. I believe there's cashmere and woods in here. And then I'm getting more rose in there. And yeah, so I think it's like a rose absolute that they have in the base. This rose fragrance is really nice. And so, yeah, so that is the story of Adonis Awakens. There's more to these stories, but I don't want to go, you know, that deep into the stories or whatever. But yeah, so that is the story of Adonis Awakens and how the rose ties in with the fragrance. I think that the company did such a great job at taking like pieces of the story and of the art and like really including it in the fragrance. I think they did a great job. Yeah. So that's Adonis Awakens. So now the next story that we're going to talk about is the infamous triumph of Bacchus. And so if I could get this story right, the guy's name was Dionysus. His name was Dionysus, and he is actually the son of Zeus. Listen, Zeus had kids everywhere. I mean, my goodness, he was like the player, you know, but it looks like even though he was a player, he did take care of his kids, okay, in all these stories. So Dionysus, his father's name was Zeus as well. It's the same Zeus, okay? And so Zeus had an affair, and you know his wife Hera was upset about that, and so she actually ended up killing Dionysus' mom some type of way somehow, and Zeus ended up protecting the boy and having a different family member raise him. So his name was Dionysus, and then later on he changed his name to Bacchus. And so he would always wear like a ivy crown, and also the ivy crown had like grapes on it. Okay, and so he learned how to make wine. So they call Bacchus the god of wine. And so he had two extremes. It's either he was a happy drunk or he was a drunk that was enraged. And so that's what I got from the story of Triumph of Bacchus. I'm pretty sure that there's more to the story, but I just want to tell you how the story ties in with the fragrance. So about the fragrance, this fragrance opens up with, so about the fragrance, Triumph of Bacchus, I'm just going to spray right here. Yeah, so. So Triumph of Bacchus opens up kind of fruity to me. Like I'm smelling green apple, and I'm smelling peach, and I'm also smelling rum in the opening. And I think they spell rum R-H-U-M. I think that's how they used to spell it. And yeah, so I smell this fruitiness, which I love so much. And I also love at the base, I'm getting this tobacco and kind of like an ambery base there. And so that's the best way that I can describe the the Triumph of Bacchus. So, you know, he was like the god of wine. So, you know, they put that booziness in there from the rum. And then also, you know, there's that tobacco there. So me, if I could just create the scenery, like, where would I wear this to? I would wear this to, I think it's unisex too, right? So those fruits are giving it more, it could take it feminine, but then that rum and that tobacco can take it like more masculine, you know? And so to me, it's like split right down the middle This smells good. This smells good as heck. Yeah. This is a masterpiece right here. And so I would wear this to, you know, just picture the scenery like a wine tasting, you know, where I'm sipping my wine and eating my grapes and apples and cheese or whatever, you know. So that's where I imagine, you know, or how I imagine putting this fragrance, like maybe with an outfit. But for a guy, I could see him wearing this, you know, like smoking his cigar and, you know, having his little drinky drink by the bar, you know. I don't know, you can wear it wherever you want, but I see the guy or the girl being like more dressed up, you know. And so that is Triumph of Bacchus. Now, this last one, by surprise, I actually heard Chris from the Perfume describe this fragrance, and this is called Femme. And so when we have similar tastes, first of all. And so when she described this fragrance, that's when I said, well, after I watched Jessica Trim and the girls do their video about the toe curling fragrances, and then I saw Chris at the Perfume do a video, I think it was her top 20 in 2022 discoveries or something like that. And I was like, okay, let me go get that discovery set because I want to see what this house is all about, you know? And so I sprayed this, and in the opening, I got like a lot of ginger. And I don't like ginger in fragrances at all. But then when that thing dried down, I got this beautiful, powdery, super ultra feminine fragrance. And I'm just going to tell you that this is the first not vanilla. I love vanilla. You see how much I love vanilla? I don't even think vanilla has anything to do with this fragrance, but scratch that, okay? This is the first ginger fragrance that I've ever purchased in my life. And I've smelled some ginger fragrance that are super duper hyped up, like Twilly de Hermes, Nishane Annie, but I just couldn't get past the opening. Now, this does open up with that blast of ginger, but it's really pretty. Like, it's not like too much for me. And then the dry down on this is like where the magic happens. Like, I feel like every girl should have this fragrance, okay? So I'm not telling you to blind buy any of these fragrances because I don't want that much weight on my shoulders if you come back and you don't like it. Okay, but what I'm saying is start off with the Discovery kit, right? The set. I think it was just like $40 or $50 for like 8 to 10 vials. And yeah, and you know, I'm really excited about this house, you know, like, so this is, it's so good. So that's Femme. Now, there are other ones in the house that smell really good, but I just really wanted to give you a quick overview of the top 5 that I love. There was 2 more in there. Well, I like Pour Homme too. It's like a fresh and clean scent, and I feel like it leans masculine, but women can wear it too. It's like a freshie. And then there was also Brevido de la Casilla. I think that's how it's pronounced. And so this one was just like, I'm really not a leather girl. So this is definitely masculine for me. So that one was like, And then the other one was Bacchus Immortal or Bacchus Immortal. And this one as well, this actually smells pretty good. I think I like the raspberry in this one, but again, it has leather in there twice too. And so that's a little bit too deep for me. And so this one leans masculine, but I do see a lot of good reviews about this one, Bacchus Immortal. And so, yeah, so there were ones, I always talk about the fragrances that I like. And I don't want to get on camera and people think that I just like everything, you know? So I don't like everything. Some things are just, I mean, it's good, but it's just not for me. Those are the top 5 fragrances that I love so much from Argos Fragrances. Now, let me give you the ranking. So I'm gonna give you the ranking as I see it for a female. When I first smelled all these fragrances, this is how I rank them. And so my number 1 is definitely Pallas Athene or Athena. And then my number 2 was Danae. And my number 3 was Perfume. Excuse me. My number 4 was Triumph of Bacchus, and my number 5 was Adonis Awakens. But that list has changed since I got the full bottle. I still put Pallas Athene at number 1. I put Perfume at number 2 for me. I put Danae at number 3. Triumph of Bacchus is still at number 4, and then Adonis Awakens is at number 5. That's the female ranking for me. Now for the male, I ranked it, I just did, I only did a top 3 for the male because these 5 that I'm talking about, Pallas Athene and Perfume, I feel like those are totally for the girls, okay? But you can wear whatever you want to wear. This is just, I don't want to smell Pallas Athene or Perfume on my man. Okay, got it? So for the men, I rank number 1 is Danae. Number 2 is Triumph of Bacchus. And number 3 is Adonis Awakens. But like I said, my nose is going to be different from your nose. Even my husband's nose, he loved Adonis Awakens, like number 1. And so I actually got him Danae and Triumph of Bacchus, and I got for myself Pallas Athene and Perfume. But once I got the fragrances, I became real selfish, and now all 4 of them belong to me. So we're gonna have to get him his own bottles because I had to move those over to my side of the closet because these fragrances are so good. Like, I'm just so happy with my purchases from Argos Fragrances. And so this concludes my review on Argos Fragrances. And if you've tried these fragrances, let me know which ones you like in the comments. Let me know if you care anything about Greek mythology or, you know, if you like the stories and how I tied them together, you know, with the fragrances. What else could we talk about? Anything you want to talk about, let's just talk in the comments. What I would recommend, well, those are the ones that I recommend. I ranked them, you know, how I see them fit for each category. And thank you so much for watching. And if you like this content, please, if you care, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you in the next one. Peace.